Hello and welcome. Today, we're pulling back the curtain and going beyond the big names you see everywhere. We're going to dive deep into the secret world of elite watchmaking, a place where pure art meets mind-bending engineering.
It's a question you hear all the time, right? If you stop 100 people on the street and ask them this, you're almost guaranteed to get one name over and over again. And yeah, for most people, that answer is Rolex. And honestly, it makes sense. Rolex is an absolute giant. It's become the global symbol for success, for rock-solid precision. In a lot of ways, it's the brand that has defined what a luxury watch even is to the public.
But what if I told you there's a whole other level? A tier of watchmaking that's so exclusive, so artistic, that its true value has almost nothing to do with just telling time, but everything to do with preserving a craft that's centuries old.
Okay, so let's get into it. We're not talking about popularity here. We're exploring what the experts call haute horlogerie, or high watchmaking. And at the very top of that mountain, you'll find the undisputed masters, a group often called the Big Five.
And here they are. First, you have the traditional holy trinity of Swiss watchmaking, Patek Philippe, Vacheron Constantin, and Audemars Piguet. Then they're joined by two other absolute legends, Breguet, a name that's basically synonymous with watchmaking innovation, and Allang and Sonnet, the only German brand in this elite club, and believe me, they bring a completely different vibe from the heart of Saxony.
So what makes these brands so legendary? Well, first off, it's their history, and I don't just mean they're old. I mean they have an unbroken legacy of making timepieces for the most powerful and influential people on the planet.
Just look at how deep these roots go. Vacheron Constantin was founded before the United States was even a country. These brands didn't just watch history happen from the sidelines. They were right there, on the wrists of the people making it.
And just check out this client list. It's basically a who's who of world history. You've got Breguet making watches for Napoleon and his enemy, the Duke of Wellington. You have Patek Philippe on the wrists of geniuses like Einstein and Picasso. Vacheron Constantin was trusted by popes and pioneers like the Wright brothers. These aren't just watches, they're literally historical artifacts.
Okay, so beyond that incredible legacy, the second pillar is pure technical mastery. In the world of high-end watchmaking, complicated is the best compliment you can get. It's what separates a simple timeteller from a true mechanical marvel. And this right here, this simple definition changes the entire point of a watch. The goal isn't just to be accurate, it's about miniaturizing genius. It's about fitting a whole universe of functions into a tiny case, powered by nothing more than springs and gears. It's kind of nuts.
And these brands were the pioneers. Breguet invented the tourbillon, this crazy spinning cage that's like a mechanical ballet inside the watch. Patek Philippe basically perfected the perpetual calendar, which is a tiny mechanical brain that knows the date for a century, leap years and all. And then you have the minute repeater, which might be the most romantic of all. A watch that literally sings you the time.
And if you're trying to wrap your head around what this kind of complexity is worth, well, look no further. $31 million. That's what one Patek Philippe with 20 different complications sold for. This isn't just a watch anymore, it's a monument to the absolute peak of what humans can create with mechanics. But look, history and technical magic are only two parts of the puzzle. The third, and maybe most important pillar, is something you can't really measure. It's what collectors call the soul of the watch. It's that human touch, that unique artistic vision that gives each of these five brands its own distinct personality.
This quote from Allang and Sonnet just captures that obsession perfectly. And it's not just talk. For instance, every single Lange watch is famously assembled twice. They build the whole thing, test it, and then they take it all apart again, just to give it a final finishing and put it back together. It's a philosophy of perfection, and it's a great example of what we mean by soul.
And that philosophy creates a look you can spot from a mile away. You see, while the Swiss masters and the Holy Trinity are all about the flowing, elegant curves of their brass movements, Lange's German style is something else entirely. They use this untreated German silver that gets this beautiful, warm golden glow over time. And the movements themselves are built differently, with this solid three-quarter plate and these sharp, deep, almost architectural angles. It's just unmistakably them.
And this, right here, might be the biggest compliment in the entire watch world. Philippe Dufour is like a living god to other watchmakers. His own work is considered absolutely flawless. So for him to say that Lange's work has a soul, that's everything. It validates this whole idea of an emotional, artistic approach to engineering, an approach all five of these brands chase in their own way.
But here's the thing. When you're constantly pushing the envelope, vowing to never stand still, that's a tough road.
When you're dealing with this level of micro-mechanical complexity, the path to perfection isn't always a straight line.
For instance, collectors have talked about some early reliability bumps with Lange's super ambitious Zeitwerk model, which, by the way, the brand has since fixed with new and improved movements. These kinds of discussions don't really take away from their greatness. If anything, they prove that even for a company that promises to never stand still, true innovation is always a work in progress.
So, where does all this history, tech, and artistry leave us in the real world? Well, to figure that out, we've got to bring it full circle and come back to Rolex.
This chart tells you the story of popularity in one glance. When it comes to making money and being recognized, Rolex is just king. They operate on a scale that completely dwarfs these other brands. They are a perfectly oiled machine of production and marketing.
Okay, but if that last slide was about popularity, this one is all about exclusivity. Just look at these numbers. Rolex makes over 1 million watches a year. A Lange & Söhne, they make around 5,000. No, that is not a typo, 5,000. Even Patek, who's a giant in this small group, makes about as many watches in a whole year as Rolex does in, what, a few weeks?
And this, right here, is the main takeaway. Rolex has mastered mass-produced excellence, and it is incredible. But the Big Five, they're operating in a different universe. They aren't even trying to compete on volume. Their whole focus is creating a very small number of wearable works of art, where pretty much every single piece is finished by a human hand. They're not just in a different business, they're playing two completely different sports.
So really, it all boils down to this question. What do you value? Is it that instant worldwide recognition that comes with a global symbol of success? Or is it the quiet, personal satisfaction of wearing a piece of mechanical art, a secret that's really only shared by a select few? The answer, I think, says just as much about who you are as it does about the watch on your wrist.